Schefter, what more can you tell us about the Colts' new quarterback?
Well, Field, it's one of the fascinating stories of the NFL season, and it starts when Daniel Jones goes down with a torn Achilles tendon on Sunday, and it continues when the Colts also know that Riley Leonard, who replaced Daniel Jones, has a strained ligament in his knee and is considered week to week, and it's now early December, and it's past the NFL trade deadline. And where does a team go on December 9th to find a quarterback when you can't trade for one and there's not a obvious option available? So what they do is they dig into their past. They go back to a quarterback in Philip Rivers that hasn't played in the NFL in 5 years. That's 44 years old. That's the father of 10, the grandfather of 1. And he has a deep connection and deep relationship with the Colts head coach Shane Steichen. They speak regularly. It's the same offense that Philip Rivers has run throughout his entire NFL career. And so when the Colts are mulling their options and they know they're in a difficult, challenging position, there really might not be an option that is any more appealing than Philip Rivers. They reach out to him. He's thinking about it. He's interested. He flies to Indianapolis Monday night. They reach an agreement today. Philip Rivers is coming in, and now everybody wants to know when he might play. It's possible he could play as soon as Sunday in Seattle. Now, again, here are the Colts' options. They can go with Riley Leonard, who may or may not be healthy. If he's not healthy, that moves up the timeline on Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers is going to go through practice on Wednesday and Thursday. They'll see how he's feeling. But he knows that offense better than any Colts quarterback in the building. So we'll see where they wind up. But obviously, this is going to be something that everybody is going to be paying close attention to all week long.
Shefty, there's no two ways about it. It is an unbelievable story. We are now joined by our quarterback, Dana Orlovsky, not quite as old as Philip Rivers, Mina Kimes, and Marcus Spears in just a few moments. I'm Field Yates. What do you make of this move, Dan? It's unbelievable theater, no matter how this goes for Philip Rivers and the Colts.
I'm rooting hard for a Colts-Steelers AFC Championship game.
Let's go.
We get Philip Rivers versus Rodgers in the AFC title, combined 86 years old. The Colts have tried. I feel bad for them. I go 12, 13 years ago, they draft Andrew Luck. There's the answer. Then they bring in Matt Ryan, and then they bring in Carson Wentz, and then they draft Anthony Richardson. They just haven't been able to catch a break. Then they get Daniel Jones, resurrect his career, and now here they are. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Skeptical?
I can't imagine he's going there. Of course I'm skeptical.
Yeah, how do you not
want to
be
be disrespectful to a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's not going there to ride the pine.
Right.
If Riley Leonard, what is your knee injury? You're a sixth-round pick. Sixth-round pick with the chance to go on a playoff run? I'd have to be dead to not be on the field. So I would have challenged Riley Leonard, get on the field. There is no injury that should keep you off the field. Could he function? I'm sure Philip Rivers can still throw the football. This is an RPO offense. They're not going to be able to run it as much as they did. But I thought Riley Leonard did some good things last week. If he was even remotely healthy, he should be the one playing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Adam Schefter saying grandfather just froze my brain. He has to be the first NFL grandfather to ever play, right? If he ends up playing.
Brett Favre,
I've been asked ever since. Yeah, this news broke. What do you think of Philip Rivers? What do you think of his film the last time? I don't know. It was 2021. The last time Philip Rivers played, we had just launched this show together. We were not allowed to travel. Marcus Spears Jr. was 5 inches shorter, and my son wasn't alive. I don't know what Philip Rivers looks like in 2025. But here's what I do know. They got the Seahawks, the Jags, whose pass rush has been on fire, and then they finish against the Houston freaking Texans. That is a gauntlet. And if Rivers gets in there, I know the ball's going to come out super fast. I know he's going to hand it off. I want to see it, but guys, I kind of don't want to see it against those defenses because I am going to be worried about him given the schedule.
Yeah.
Mina, you hit right where I was going. It's not about Philip Rivers for me. It's about what we've watched two of these particular defenses do to quarterbacks that's been getting reps every day for the last 5 years. It's just hard for me to believe that the Colts find themselves in this situation. I understand I had a visceral reaction last night on Monday Night Countdown when Schefter broke this news to us on the show, but ultimately, like this is one of those situations where Tom Brady still got everybody fooled and thinking that everybody could play over their 40s and they can play at a certain level good enough to play sustained football. And more important, like Phillip Rivers is coming to help Shane Steichen out, talked about the relationship. But Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson don't care about that. Leonard Williams don't care about that. Mike McDonald and those simulated pressures don't give a damn how old Phillip Rivers is. They're going to try to tear his head off. And every quarterback plan is to get the ball out their hands quick when they play these defenses. Unfortunately, every quarterback that play these defenses get hit about 12 times a game. So, listen, this is where we are. It's unfortunate for the Colts. I share that sentiment with Dan as a team that had a plan, traded for Sauce Gardner because they thought they were on the track to have a real shot in the AFC. But to bring a 44-year-old quarterback who's had a tremendous amount of success, who to Dan's point is going to the Hall of Fame, that's wonderful. Nobody on these defenses cares about that. And I'm scared for Phillip Rivers. Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah, understandably so. So in a search for some potential silver linings, our friend J.J. Watt, who of course calls games over on CBS, had an interesting post on Twitter earlier today after this news broke. Quote, a fun fact learned in production meetings. Phillip Rivers ran the same offense as the Colts for his son Gunner's high school team this season. He and Shane Steichen spoke weekly about it, discussing plays and even film, so familiarity with the scheme should be no problem whatsoever. Okay, Dan, again, we're looking for silver linings here. Is that scheme familiarity enough to give you slightly more confidence?
No. I mean, I don't want to be even remotely disrespectful. I look up to Phillip Rivers.
Of course, yeah.
He's 45. To Mina's point, I have no idea what he looks like. Can he move around? I continue to go back to the point of Riley Leonard.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Phil, let me ask you this question because I know this is not you posing the question. How long has Brock Purdy played in Kyle Shanahan's system?
He was 2022 Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Right. So 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
This
his
is
ass
third
just get
season.
off? Didn't he just come back from IR? Didn't he just come back from IR?
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels been in Washington.
Yeah.
How many games has he missed? Joe Burrow been in Cincinnati. How many games has he missed? Don't tell me nothing about scheme familiarity. Every quarterback in the league that's starting got some scheme familiarity, and they still get hurt.
Yeah.
And they not 45 who haven't played football in 5 years. All right, so I get it. Everybody going. There is no silver lining when you got to call a guy that's been out of football for 5 years to come start quarterback for you in the dead heat of the season with a team trying to make the playoffs. This is a panic button.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate for the Indianapolis Colts, and I feel like it's unfortunate for Phillip Rivers as well.
I feel you, by the way. I ran into Damian Woody in the hallway last week, and I broke a rib. So I know what you guys are saying about the potential. And I know my way around the ESPN buildings. Adam Schefter is back with us for more. Anything you want to add to the familiarity, the dynamics in play here, Shefty, for Phillip Rivers and the Colts?
Well, the Colts are desperate. Marcus is right about that. And desperate times call for desperate measures. And so they've turned to a quarterback who's older than their head coach, who's older than their offensive coordinator. And if we think about it, in recent weeks, we've seen the Denver Broncos go and sign Mercedes Lewis at his age. This week, we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sign Jason Pierre-Paul to their practice squad. Now we're seeing the Indianapolis Colts sign Phillip Rivers. I honestly wonder how many other people are out there thinking about a return. Dan Orlovsky, Marcus Spears. You guys thinking about something right now? You want to come back? Like, I texted some other people, like, yeah, people are saying, oh, maybe we should probably start stretching and warming up and get at it.
Shefty, can I ask you a question?
Well, I'm just telling you, we're starting to see some people. Yeah, go ahead.
I would assume he's not going there to just go there and hang out. He's signing there to be the, in theory, starting quarterback for the remainder of this season. Is that an accurate assumption?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think he's going there with the idea that he's going to be playing. I don't know the rest of the season. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I won't be surprised if he's the starter on Sunday, but I think both sides still are processing how this is going to play out, how Riley Leonard is feeling, what he looks like in practice, how he responds in practice. There was the question with Joe Burrow, how he was going to be feeling physically, and he missed 2 months. He didn't miss 5 years. So they have to see how he's going to be feeling when he gets through practice Wednesday and Thursday before they're ready to anoint him as the starter. Look, I think this, Dan, he's tight, very tight with the head coach, Shane Steichen.
Sure.
He has a relationship with Riley Leonard. He's been in the organization. He knows all these people. It's not like he's stepping into some new environment with new coaches. This is comfortable for him. And he's going to go see what comes out of that. I don't think he knows, hey, I'm going in there, I'm starting Sunday, I'm starting the rest of the year. I think he goes in there, obviously, with the idea that he wants to play, and they're going to need him to play at some point in time. The question is how soon the clock starts on that.
Well, yet another way to describe just how long it's been since Philip Rivers played in the NFL. He's currently a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2026. And for those wondering, per the Hall of Fame, Rivers signed to the Colts practice squad has no effect on his eligibility for this upcoming class. However, if he signs to the Colts active roster, his eligibility clock would reset whether or not he takes a snap in the game, which means if he plays at some point this season, he will not be eligible until 2031. All right, the Eagles and the Chargers, drama in Los Angeles. And, of course, Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert, the two starting quarterbacks. Taking to the second quarter here, Jalen Hurts throws it right into the hands of Deshaun Hand, who picks him off. Then Will Shipley comes over and forces a fumble of Deshaun Hand, which is recovered by Jalen Hurts, who then fumbles it again, Dano. That is a wild, wild play.
Yeah, one of, you can say this, a play that never have seen and never likely to see again.
And here we go, the next possession. Hurts is picked off again by Dante Jackson. So 3 turnovers in the matter of a few minutes by Jalen Hurts.
It was a turnover fest by both teams.
Fourth quarter, maybe the best play call by the Eagles all night. Fake the tush push, 52-yard house call there for Saquon Barkley. He had over 120 yards last night.
I love the quick huddle, the quick snap to get to line of scrimmage, kick it to the perimeter. Felt like life for this offense.
And here we go, fourth quarter, just over 11 minutes remaining, and Jalen Hurts intending for A.J. Brown, tipped and picked off by Cam Hart. What in the world?
It felt like every ball that was tipped was going to get taken away. Every ball that hit the ground was going to bounce the right way for the defense. And then come back, babyface, late in the game, tie ball game. It's a perfect throw. You've seen them make that throw and catch hundreds of times.
And that leads to, of course, a field goal attempt by the Eagles to go up by 3. As time is about to expire, Cameron Dicker, one of his 5 field goals for the Los Angeles Chargers. Many fantasy implications for him there. We head to overtime. And in overtime, Dan, the Chargers take a field goal on the first possession, which leads to the Eagles having the ball and a chance to respond. That right there, we're getting back on track. Maybe a chance to win here.
Outstanding throw in anticipation between people. They come back with an RPO. Jalen's run this multiple times in the game and hundreds of in his career, and he just makes the wrong read, tries to force the ball in between, and it gets tipped up for a pick.
Months to forget for the Eagles as Jalen Hurts and Philadelphia has now dropped their last 3 games. A jubilant Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. But eyes on Philly here for one moment. And so it's 3 games span, all of those being losses. Hurts leads all quarterbacks with 7 turnovers, including a league-high 5 interceptions. His 5 turnovers last night were the most by an Eagles player since play-by-play. Make that tied for the most since the Eagles, by an Eagles player since play-by-play was tracked back in 1978. Mina, this team still has control of its division. That being said, there are some concerns as we think bigger picture about the offense. What concerns you most?
Oh, boy. It's hard to pick just one thing, right? With this Eagles offense, there's been so many issues all year long. But if I had to synthesize it, thinking about watching last night, they can't run the ball efficiently or explosively outside of a few examples. Because they can't run the ball well, they don't get one-on-ones outside anymore, and then you got a quarterback who doesn't throw over the middle of the field. And that inability or unwillingness to throw over the middle of the field, it leads to a lot of issues, like the first interception you saw with Deshaun Hand. It's a great pressure call from Jesse Minter. It's a simulated pressure. The defensive tackle and the linebacker who shows blitz, then drops. Henley comes. Hurts feels him. He doesn't even look. He throws the ball straight at the defensive tackle, right? And you've seen these sort of simulated fire zone pressures give him trouble over the course of his career. Look, Kevin Patullo has gotten a lot of criticism this year, deservedly so. I know Dan's going to talk about it. I actually thought he tried some interesting stuff in this game, but the quarterback not being able to use that part of the field in the passing game, it makes things really difficult for everybody, especially if you can't run the ball. So it's just been an issue all year long, Dan. Like between the numbers, you don't throw the football. He made one amazing pass at the end, but it's so limiting for this offense, and everybody suffers because of it.
Yeah, I liked, after watching the tape, a lot of the things that Philadelphia did offensive last night. I'm more encouraged with their offense off of last night than I have been in probably 8 to 10 weeks. Now, is it perfect? No. Are there issues? Yes. Empty, the interception that Mina's talking about. Go back to Chicago last Black Friday when he misses Devontae Smith. Hey, empty in the middle of the field. We got to be more aware of that if you're Jalen Hurts. That's twice now in 2 weeks you've got a similar look. This is the curl route that Devontae Smith just falls on. So everyone's like, Jalen Hurts stinks. He's throwing all these interceptions. That ball is at the right place at the right time. That's on the wide receiver. I'm not absolving the quarterback from not playing good last night, but that's an easy fix. This is something that I'm talking about when it comes to some of the stuff I liked. Pull the backside guard, play action shot. My goodness, that's a post wide open in the NFL. Jalen, throw it. Get more aggressive when we are calling our shots. You got to take the shots when they're there. You go a little bit later on the in route to A.J. Brown. I like this decision. I like to throw. Would I prefer it to be 6 inches lower? Yes. I'm paying you $30 million. Make that catch. Yeah. By all means, the ball should not get picked off. And then the game sealer, hand the ball off. If not, I love being aggressive. This is an RPO. He's reading the corner. He tries to fit it. This is probably the throw that I want back the most if I was him. But I'm walking away and watching this tape. I'm going, I like some of the schemes they did. I like the play action stuff they did. I like the pocket movement that they did. I like the fact that they got offensive players running across the field multiple times. So there's stuff that they have to clean up, no doubt. But in comparison to 5-6 weeks ago when it was like, my goodness, this offense is boring. I know exactly what they're doing. They did new stuff. Get rid of some of that self-inflicted wound last night. I think there's a lot to build off in the good element for the Eagles offense from last night.
Yeah, I was just excited to see some runs go for explosive plays in this offense, like to try to create. This was a split flow action that they had with the tight end coming across out of the shotgun under center, and I like that. I like giving teams in Saquon an opportunity for a built-in cutback, and you see what he can do once he get past the first level. This is the type of stuff where if Philly is going to have themselves in a position to win and be strong down the stretch, that they are going to have to continue to do this. I'm in agreement with Dan. It's just so many times, though, I looked at this game and it felt like Jalen was holding the football. And I'm not sure if that's because he's not obviously anticipating.
You know, like, Marcus, there was moments just not open.
But Dan, in the past, Jalen Hurts is gone. He's out of there. Yeah. And I don't know, like, or should we be having the same conversation that we have about Lamar? Is he hurt? Does he not want to take off and go get those that yardage that's available to him? Like, those are the things that made this offense. We sat on this show and talked so much about the threat of Jalen Hurts' legs, not just when plays break down. Even in structure, and they don't have a semblance of that anymore. And I think that led to some of the holding, and it led to some of those interceptions that I saw yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know why Jalen Hurts doesn't run more. I don't think it's an injury or athleticism, issue. If you're looking at this team and backs against the wall and you're going down the stretch and you're looking at a potential playoff run, he has to be a part of the run game, especially if they're putting him in empty more. He's got to have some willingness to scramble when those opportunities are there. The gun run stuff is all dead in the water if he doesn't run. He doesn't get north-south the way he did before. Justin Herbert in this game scrambled a million times. You saw that. We're going to talk about him and his performance.
Yes.
But to me, when I look at this Eagles run game and how inconsistent and inefficient it's been, that is a very clear solution moving forward that they've got to do.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, 60-plus rushing yards last night. Just 8 rushing yards on 4 attempts for Jalen Hurts. This Philadelphia offense still looking for its identity.
Come on, man.
There's stuff to be built. There's stuff to build off last night, I promise you.
By the way, I'm Mr. Positive over here today. The Eagles can't clinch. Booyah premieres tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, the ESPN app, and Disney+. Back to the breaking news coming out of Indianapolis, where the Colts have signed Philip Rivers to their practice squad. The 44-year-old hasn't played in the NFL since the 2020 season. Here's how the rest of the league is responding.
What you just said, Tom was playing.
Yeah.
And never stopped. Stopping for 5 years and coaching high school ball, it'll keep you in a little bit of shape, but it ain't NFL shape. So I think he's going to struggle.
Mike, you have a 42-year-old quarterback. Can a 44-year-old who hasn't played in 5 years come back and play? Philip Rivers? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Colts are supposed to work him out.
That's none of my business, man. I'm trying to get ready for the Dolphins.
He is the best. And check out our guy, Damian Woody, posting, man, let me stretch my Achilles out and sign me a deal, too, since grandparents are getting signed now.
Easy there.
D. Wood's family is about as big as the Rivers family. Not quite there, but many, many, many people in that crew. The Colts, who are on the outside looking in when it comes to the AFC playoff picture right now, finished the season with games against, how about this, the Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, and Texans. Indy is, unsurprisingly, not favored in any of those 4 remaining games, according to ESPN Analytics. So, Dan, what do you make of a grandfather potentially making his first start in 5 years and doing so in Seattle, of all places?
Yeah, very difficult challenge. If Daniel Jones was fully healthy and playing at the high level he did for most of this season, I would tell the Colts, if you can go in that 4-game stretch 2-2, that would be outstanding. That's with Daniel playing at the highest level. Phillip Rivers, with a very short body of work, coming off of not having played in 5 years, I think this is near impossible to go in and expect him to play at a high enough level where they can win football games. Do they have perimeter players still? Yes. Alec Pierce and Tyler Warren and Josh Downs and a very good run game, of course.
Michael Pittman Jr. too?
Yeah, Michael Pittman Jr. One of the great things about this offense was how cool and awesome the RPOs were. I can't imagine Phillip being capable of operating these RPOs at his level or his age, the way that they're designed. And so I just think that this feels like a Hail Mary that is unlikely to be completed.
Can I ask you, did they call you first? Can
God,
you confirm
no.
or deny? No.
I'm
You're
not
42. You're a spring chicken
I
compared
am
to
not
Phil.
up for the Hall of Fame, so I'm not a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame.
You know what? One day,
I was doing the
Sports Media
Monsters
Hall
game.
of Fame. That's right, dude. That was awesome last night. We kept my 3-year-old up a little bit later than usual last night to get a glimpse of that. A reminder, the Colts again on the outside looking in after losing 3 straight games as it pertains to the AFC playoffs, and one team they are chasing, the Houston Texans. Oh boy, they beat down the Chiefs on Sunday night. ESPN Analytics gives Houston an 88% chance to make the playoffs. The Texans, get this, had just an 11% chance prior to their current 5-game winning streak. Dan, the defense gets most of the attention, understandably so. They are nasty. But what have you seen that you like from the offense as well of late?
So last week it was the pocket movement by CJ, and this is not just last week, but it's been their trend for a couple weeks now. It's their 6th offensive lineman offense. Okay, so it's not just their run game, but I do like the fact that it's allowing them to be somewhat efficient in their run game. 6 offensive linemen. Blake Fisher, the second-year player from Notre Dame, comes in for the tight end position. I think it allows the double teams to be a little bit more sound, them to at least get the run started. That's been a huge deal. This past week, they implemented a little bit more of the play-action stuff. Why does that matter? Because then, one, you can block a defensive end one-on-one with the tight end, that 6th tackle, and then that shores up the 5 offensive linemen, essentially blocking only 3 defensive linemen, gives you the chance to push the ball downfield. 6 offensive linemen, again, down in the goal line, the red zone, the inside the 5-yard line area, where so often defensive lines slant. Tight ends get beat on the inside. Having the body presence just confirms the win at the line of scrimmage. And this is an offense that doesn't need to be explosive all the time. It doesn't need to create a ton of big plays. It just can't be negative play dominant. I think that kind of core part of who they are offensively at least gives plays the chance to get started and then some shots down the field. CJ's a good enough player to make up for the other parts. I think their offense is good enough to make a playoff run.
Yeah, the best part of this conversation that we're having now is that we're not talking about the interior of the offensive line getting devastated. And they've created that, to your point, Dan. I like his non-built-in quarterback movement as well. There were several times when he was able to evade pressure, step up in the pocket, and make plays pushing the ball down the field. And if you guys remember coming out of college, this was the question that he had until he played late in the playoff game, I believe, and he showed some of this movement. But this is what it's going to have to be at times for the Houston Texans. You love that he's back healthy, play breakdown, he's able to get outside of the pocket. Chris Jones at times should have had CJ dead to rights, but his athleticism bailed him out on a lot of plays. And these are the type of plays that we all know you're going to have to make if you want to make a playoff run, like you mentioned, Dan. So I was very impressed by that. His poise, but also his mobility and ability to go above and beyond the X's and O's and extend plays and make plays down the field with his arm.
Yeah, you guys talked about the competence of the offensive. All we need is competence from the offensive line. Dan, the 6th offensive line, helps them get things blocked up. Marcus, you talked about CJ making plays outside of structure. Something that I've loved is just how relentless they've been about attacking the middle of the field. CJ Stroud in his last 4 starts has more in-breakers as a percentage of his throws than any starting quarterback at the moment in football. And on those throws, 42% of his throws are in-breakers. And on those throws, he leads the entire NFL in success rate. He leads the NFL in APA per dropback. He's averaging 12 yards per attempt. CJ is very good at throwing those balls, and he has 2 monsters at receiver right now. Like, when we think about the identity passing game, the first thing I think about, 6'4" Nico Collins, 6'4" Jaden Higgins. On those, and in the deep digs, we think about Collins all the time, of course, but even like the slants, the quick stuff, they use their frames to box out smaller defensive backs. You saw that in Kansas City, who has a good secondary, but they just can't physically match up with those guys. And to me, that feels like an identity that they can build around because, this is an offense that at the beginning of the year looked completely like it did last season. Now it feels like they're gaining some momentum.
And MK, to your point, like having both of those big guys, but even in that Kansas City game, there was a few opportunities that he had to connect with Christian Kirk that they weren't able to make happen. But you could see some potential big play stuff that could transpire between both of those guys as well with Kirk in the slot. I think they can be really good offensively, y'all. It starts clicking the right way, and they continue to protect CJ. I think this can be a big play offense.
Yeah, and they've got that 5-game winning streak. Look at the next 4 games they have to close out the regular season. The Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Week 18 against maybe the Phillip Rivers-led Colts. React to some news around the league, starting in Dallas, where Jerry Jones was watching the Eagles' loss very closely last night.
Well, I watched the game flying up to New York. I'm overlooking Central Park right now, but real excited. They didn't have to put any fuel in the plane. I know it's cliche, but we've got to concentrate on the Minnesota Vikings this weekend, and that's a big game for us. But, boy, you see that, you need to stay in there every play. Every play is meaningful right at this particular time, and we sure got a shot at this thing.
All right, Swagoo, Jerry Jones thinks they have a shot. Do you believe the Cowboys have a shot in the NFC East?
I like the optimism. The shot is based off what the Philadelphia Eagles do, though. And I think I came away from that game last night saying they may be figuring some things out. But it's great for Jerry to remain optimistic. You look at the rest of the schedule. The Eagles have the Commanders twice, which you think both of those will be wins. And you look at the Cowboys schedule, who could quite possibly win all of those games as well. I didn't think we would be here at this point, babyface, but we are, with an opportunity for Dallas to actually be in the seed 1 for the NFC East, which is absolutely diabolical at this point.
Swagoo, all you can ask for in life is an opportunity. The Cowboys at least have one of those.
Just a chance, man.
Just a chance. Let's go to Cleveland now, where the Browns have perhaps unsurprisingly announced Shedeur Sanders will be their starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Browns defensive end Alex Wright has full confidence in his rookie quarterback.
He brings an energy of his own. Like, Shedeur has been the same person since he stepped foot in Cleveland. Like, there's nothing changed about him. He's always the happy-go-lucky person that's in the locker room, always shaking people's hands, making jokes and stuff like that. And then when it's time to, put on the pads and put on the helmet, it's time to work. Like, even when I come into the facility, I see him in the office every day with Coach Stefanski, like, just going over film. I see him in there asking questions, and he's not afraid to ask questions. So just for him to be, that poised rookie and stuff like that, that's not afraid to go out there, and throw the football. Of course, he's a rookie. There's always going to be mistakes in the game of football.
Good stuff right there, Dan. Do you like what you've seen from Shedeur so far?
I do. He's playing faster. That's probably the biggest gripe of him coming out of school. So this is the traditional under center bootleg. The big thing is after the fake, you got to snap your head, find that end man. He does. Don't keep running. Put your foot in the ground. Number 1, the flat route is taken. Don't take the sack, hold it quickly, get that ball out to that crosser. That's very well done. This is that beautiful 60-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy. Look how quickly he goes from 1, scans front side, realizes it's man, back to 2, understands the safety, drops slow, and carries that middle of the field post. 3 is the backside right now. Man, that's awesome. We see that from high-level starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Very well done by Shedeur. changes the protection here. He wants Fannin one-on-one, gives them the chance to hesitate, watches the corner collapse on the in route from the top. This is an elite throw under a real NFL pocket. You cannot play and or throw it better than those clips right there. Are there still issues? 100%. Down in the red zone, all out pressure. You have to drift. I love the fact that he backpedals. You got to beat the last guy with the throw. Give your tight end, the young rookie Fannin, a chance versus man coverage. So it hasn't been unbelievably perfect, but man, the stuff that you saw in college and even in that Rams preseason game that gave you just some reservations, I think week by week there's just been a little bit of a step forward in some of those flaws. This weekend, he played at a very high level.
4 more games to continue to grow for Shedeur Sanders.
I think they're huge. I think they're huge. I think they're huge.
Yep. Just a week ago in Pittsburgh, fans were calling for Mike Tomlin's job. But after a win over the Ravens, the Steelers are now back atop the AFC North. And here's Mike Tomlin earlier today on maybe being on the hot seat.
At the Bills game, fans calling for your job. Did you feel like you were in the hot seat at all last week?
Man, I've been in the hot seat for 19 years.
Did you feel like you had something to prove to the fans at all?
I always feel like I got something to prove, not necessarily to anyone in particular, but that's just the spirit in which I go about what I do professionally.
What do you expect from the fans Monday night?
Man, I expect them to show up, man. It's Monday Night Football in Acrisure. It's going to be a big game.
Well, Mina, as Mike just said, the Steelers play host to the Dolphins on Monday night in Pittsburgh. What challenge does Miami pose to Pittsburgh?
Man, I know the Dolphins' record is what it is. They're likely out of the playoffs. Do not sleep on this run game because I am telling you, week after week now, they're putting up some of the filthiest tape in terms of running of any team in the NFL. I mean, they lead the league in explosive run rate. Devon Achane leads all running backs in rushing yards over expected per carry. They use motion at the highest rate, which gives the Pittsburgh Steelers trouble. And a lot of the things they do in the run game in terms of using misdirection, eye candy, Achane getting into the edge, these are all things that Pittsburgh has struggled with, particularly the second level of their defense. So they got to come into this with a game plan for that rushing attack because it is one of the trickiest to solve in the entire league.
Yeah, Achane had a bonkers day this past Sunday, Mina, and he didn't even play the entirety of it as he got banged up with that rib injury.